Right, cool.
Yeah, carry on, man. How you doing? Okay, here we go. We are finally here. God, what an ordeal. Life shouldn't be that difficult, should it? You know, just thinking about it, like it should be simpler. Delete that other broadcast. I went live. I understand that deleting it will remove it, delete it forever. Thank you very much. Oh, thank God. Okay, so we've removed that one silly thing. Okay, here we go. We are now live. That's more like it. Okay, so there we go. Finally, we are on track, and the track is on us, and we are the ones on the track tracking. Are you all tracking? Because we're on track. Hello, Burnhawk. Sweetheart, lovely to see you. Thank you for joining us. I look really bright, don't I? Like, I look British, like proper British. You know, like, you know, you wouldn't think I'm an African dude, like that I'm an African son. You know, I usually have quite a tan. You look more tan than me under these lights.
Well, the thing is, where you are, is it the weather getting colder where you are? I think because it started heating up. I've still got a pretty good tan though. What's that?
I've still got a fairly okay tan though.
Yeah.
It must be that light. It is. I just can't deal with it. You see, I'll tell you what the problem is, right?
Your light's quite white.
It's because I've had this problem now for a long time where I don't have any lights on in my home. So there's not much I can do about it. I can put it on this side.
What do you mean? Had a power cut?
No, I've got three-phase power where I live.
Right.
The power is on, but the lights aren't working. And I've had my estate agent getting onto the municipality trying to figure out why the lights aren't working. I've had an electrician come to my home, open up the board and say there's nothing wrong with your board. But because I've got three-phase power, I'm having this problem. Now, normal homes are two-phase power. Three-phase power gives you, it's a technical thing. It's in other words, you normally got one phase of electrical. It's one wave. I've got three different waves of electricity moving in, and for some reason, my lights aren't working. But it's got to do with the current coming into the house. That's what the electrician said last week when he came here. So, like, just it's a headache. That's what it is. So I run around with a torch.
That's you saying that like to do three-phase power and the power can't get into the home, and that there is power but the lights aren't on. That just reminds me of like a lot of humanity at the moment. Like there's power, like they can walk around and stuff, but the light isn't on. And it's something to do with power not being able to come into them. So as you were saying all of that, I was just thinking about the broader spectrum of humanity as a whole, because that's what I've noticed is that, like, because there's a saying, the lights are on, but there's no one home. It's kind of like that, but there is someone home. There's someone there, like part of them moving around and stuff, but the lights aren't on. Like, you know, people aren't glowing. People like, you know, it's a frequency thing, and I think it's to do with the brain, the mind, the flow, and tapping into the all mind. So yeah, it sounds like you've got a similar issue there with your house. Thankfully, not your house. You know, just the home that.
Two houses on my street have this problem.
Right.
Whoever's got three-phase electricity, they're phasing out three-phase electricity to turn everything into two-phase electricity. And two-phase electricity has a peak and a drop, and a peak and a drop. So you've got three peaks and three drops all fitted into one wavelength, as opposed to one peak and then two peaks and two drops. So it means that between the two waves, where there would be a dip where the current arcs and doesn't arc. It'd be arcing 3 times. It's really complex. You can see it on a graph, 3-phase. I didn't really know about it until this. Like, I've heard about it and I knew, okay, 3-phase means you can get more power. So I've got like what is considered an industrial power coming in, business power. Business power gets 3-phase. But I'm in a home that used to be a guest house. So it was originally a business. So it's still set up onto the 3-phase power. Anyway, it's just been a nightmare. I'm going to have to like really jump all over my estate agents because it will be 2 weeks on Monday, which is just ridiculous.
So you don't have any lights, but you have electricity.
Everything works except the lights. I've got lamps. I've got a lamp here. I've got a lamp here. I've got lamps all over the house, but it's just annoying.
Yeah.
You get used to this. You press the light button and the whole house lights up. Then you need a power cable coming out there with a lamp, and a power cable with a lamp in the kitchen and a lamp over there, and it's just inconvenience. So
Good
welcome
practice,
to everybody.
If there's any power cuts, good practice, making sure you've got all the right bits and stuff.
This is South Africa, brother. This is South Africa. I've got a backup power electrical battery generator that carries like a good few kilowatts of power.
Nice.
Like, we've had these problems for a long time. Welcome to everybody in the chat. Hope you guys are smiling. Hope you guys are thriving. Hope you guys are doing well. It is Beltane, the bell in the garden. Tane means garden in Germanic, and bell means bell. Bell also means well, well. To be well is to be healthy. The well is the well, where you get the water out of the well. And that's why you ring the bell, because the bell makes you feel well. So the and the were interchangeable letters in the old languages. Still is. Hebrew, Paleo-Hebrew, Phoenician, Sanskrit, Greek, all of those languages. I think Greek as well, ancient Greek. They all had old Egyptian, the B and the V were interchangeable. So you could bell and vel to be well, and so the Germans to be well.
Well, that's not too far off Wotan then, which is another name for Odin, I believe. Beltane being Weltane, Wutan, Wotan. It's not too far off.
That's interesting. Yeah, it is not that far off at all. So that's Beltane, and so we've got Beltane in the corner on the right-hand side of your screen, and then we have Samhain on the left-hand side of your screen. I am Team Samhain, and Shinobi is Team Beltane. I'm in the southern hemisphere, so it's now technically the first day of winter. First day of winter is technically Samhain. You can't really celebrate the beginning of summer in the beginning of winter, right? It just doesn't have the right ring to it. The bell doesn't ring very well. So it's I would say that it's Samhain here in South Africa and Beltane there, because obviously our seasons are completely reversed. So there's this powerful polarity moving between the Beltane and the Samhain. Obviously, the Samhain represents the first day of winter, represents those things that you wish to release, those things that you wish to lose, those things, those patterns and habits that aren't working for you. And now it's the beginning of winter, and this is what you wish to wither, like a tree. Which branches are not working for the tree, and which branches are better to go off the tree, so that the tree can grow better with the right branches that will be optimal for the tree's shape and growth. Namaste, Gaz. Namaste, Bo Warren. Namaste, Angel Clairvoyant. And Hollowbone Hawk. Hope you guys are all smiling and happy. And obviously, Beltane is the first day of summer, so it has to do with that which you have begun in spring as an inspiration, and plants that you've planted in your garden, metaphorically, that you wish to see growing to become fruit. So those projects that you wish to see becoming expressed as a fruiting plant to bear fruits, to bear success. So Beltane is all about success and bearing fruit. And Samhain is all about the decay and the weathering of the plant and using the weathering. Sort of like if you grow the magic herb, right? You got to prune that plant, baby. If you're growing the herb, you need to prune that plant, and pruning that plant is really important because you want to prune the plant so that it's getting maximum light. That way you get maximum health, maximum yield, maximum fruit. In that case, it would be nugs. Yeah, nugs. But it's the same idea for anything. So with that in mind, let's get cranking. Dear brother Shinobi. You know Shinobi, by the way. If you don't know him, you should know him. He's in my recommended channels. He's really cool. He's got a whole lot of content on his channel. He started making videos. He's a researcher. He's very deeply embedded with numbers with words, well, as they relate to numbers as well. But he's very inspired by words and how words are connected to sounds phonetically and how they connect to us and the world emotionally, and this vibrant field of thought that is expressed through sound. Big love, dear brother.
Yeah, much love to you as well, Franklin. Cheers for the introduction. Yeah, I try and find the common thread of things. People who've been on the channel before probably know that. And how I do that is via like etymology. That's been a great help. Symbology, mythology, philosophy, psychology, to try and figure out, like, if there's one thing, I try and compare it to something else and try and find the common ground between things, you know, like traveling the liminal, I guess. Like the middle way is how you see the common thread. So today there is a Scorpio full moon, and it's interesting because I'd be interested to know what your moon is at the moment over there, because obviously during Samhain here, we'd be in Scorpio. The sun would be in Scorpio, and now there's a Scorpio full moon. Just wondering what your full moon. Well, it's not full at the moment, is it? Actually, what is it? No, it won't be full.
Well, the moon, the full moon is, funnily enough, dependent upon the sun. So, if it's now, for example, it's now Taurus season, right? So then we would go Taurus to Gemini, to Cancer, to Leo, to Virgo, to Libra, to Scorpio. That's 6 signs. Mm-hmm. So the moon must be on the opposite side of the sun for it to be full. So when the sun, when there's a full moon, if you ever want to know where the moon is, here's a trick, people. It's a clever little trick. If you ever want to know where is the moon now, and you don't have an ephemeris, and you don't have Google, you don't have internet, this is how we did it in the old days, peeps, like before the internet existed. You would look at where the sun is now, and I would say, let's say the sun is in Gemini, right? Then you would say, okay, so it's a Gemini sun, which means when it's full moon, the moon will be in Scorpio. I'm sorry, the moon will be in Sagittarius, hypothetically, because it's 6 signs apart. And then you would see where in Gemini the full moon lands. What date is it? And then you can tell more or less what degrees you are, right? So if you can just figure out when the full moon will be, then you should know more or less how close in. And so you can more or less calculate 2.5 days, 2.5 days, 2.5 days back or forwards to find out where the moon is now. If that makes sense.
Right.
So that's how I used to calculate where the moon was back in the good old days. Now it's just like a quick Google, but in those days you had to do it in your brain. You had to figure out, okay, so the moon will always be opposite. So the moon will be the same.
So it's a Scorpio,
in the south and the north.
Scorpio moon for you too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting because we've got Scorpio full moon, but usually, obviously, Scorpio in the sun would be Samhain here. So I just thought there might be that, your moon might be in something different.
Well,
But no.
when it's Samhain, right? Then it will be Taurus. You see, Samhain would be Scorpio to Sagittarius, Sagittarius to Capricorn, to Aquarius, to Pisces, to Aries, to Taurus.
Right. Yeah.
So when it's Samhain, the full moon will be in Taurus.
Right.
So they switch around. So that's actually quite important. What you've just nailed you've dropped some hammer down on something here, because whenever there's a Samhain, there's a Taurus full moon. Whenever there's a Beltane, there's a Scorpio full moon.
Interesting.
And Beltane falls in Scorpio period, and Samhain falls in Taurus period. So they have this inversion, and Scorpio is fixed water, and Taurus is fixed earth. Isn't that interesting?
Very interesting, yeah.
And it gets more interesting than that. And there's something I wanted to talk about. We broke into this on another round table, but I thought we'll dance into the Samhain a little bit more, and into the Beltane. I hope you're having a great day, by the way. What have you been doing? Have you been busy? Have you been taking it easy?
Well, I've just been at work today, and then new TV arrived today. So I got home and set that up because Bodhi tipped over our other telly, so the screen completely went. So we just found we had to get a smart TV, one that's got like Prime and stuff on it, but managed to pick one up for quite cheap like a week or so ago. So that arrived today. So the boys have a telly now. It's more for them than us. So yeah, just set that up. And we did a podcast a couple of days ago, didn't we? And in between then and now, I had a temperature and a fever, not last night, but the night before, because I've got some like sinus stuff going on. Surprisingly, like yesterday and today, I've been fine. I'm just a little bit like bunged up, so I can't wait for this to clear, because it seems like it's been months, and I did have a really bad sinus infection which I cleared without taking antibiotics, but it's starting to flare up again, which is kind of just annoying more than anything. But I had a really strange fever just the other night, and yesterday I felt fine. Today I felt fine, so that's good. I think my body did its job, like it usually does. And I hate taking anything like paracetamol, ibuprofen, antibiotics. I'd rather not. Unfortunately, a few days ago I did have to take one painkiller because of my tooth, which is related to my sinus, I think. But yeah, other than that, today just been at work, and then just making sure that the kids are all good. Did a bit of shopping. What about yourself?
You just reminded me how long it is since I've had Shivambu. Thank you for that. I need to start getting the Shivambu flowing again. I haven't drank Shivambu in a long time. Shivambu, it's the sacred Shivambu. You know, Shiva, Shivambu. Shiva taught Parvati the secrets of Shivambu on the Himalayas. It's well documented in the Shiv Puranas, part of the Vedas. And Joshua, get out now, please. I'm in a live. Oh, thank you for that important information. I don't even want to hear about it. You're going to have to go and deal with that, buddy. Close the door. I'm in a live, please. I love you more than anything in the world. Oh my gosh. He pooed when he was in the shower. I don't know what to say. Anyway, good luck to him. He's had a problem with his tummy. He's been trying to poo since the whole of yesterday. And And so he feels like he needs to go to the toilet, and then he goes, nothing happens. And so it happened while he was in the shower. He said he put it in his mommy's bath. Good luck to her. Rather her than me. Look, I'm being selfish here, but this is like how it is, you know. Like I'm the lucky one. Trust me, I've had my share of dealing with, you know, when you're a parent, like you deal with all sorts of things like broken TVs or whatever else. But yeah, man, Shivambu. So Shiva taught Parvati the secrets of Shivambu and how it can improve your longevity. And basically, Shivambu is what in the yogas is the sacred name for urine therapy. So that's I haven't had Shivambu in a long time. I've almost forgotten what it tastes like. You got to temper it. Normally, when I'm going to practice that kind of medicine, I drink a lot of lemon juice, a lot of lemon water, a lot of freshly squeezed lemons, and I completely remove everything from my diet. Only rock salt, Himalayan rock salt, certain herbs, certain things, and I eat lots of salads, and you know, just really purify your body. And it's like a powerful homeopathic hit. So let's see who's here. Big love, big blessings, peace, honor, and respect. Marcus Aurelius, welcome. Gaz, welcome. We've got Just Me, welcome, Just Me, and welcome Freya Hella Black. Welcome to you guys. Hope you guys are all well and thriving. And yeah, so we were getting into like the idea of the Beltane, and Joshua, please, I'm doing a live now. Stop trying to distract me. So I'm just going to quickly go and lock the door so you can't come and disturb me. Give me a second. Let me give you a kiss. You're naked. You can't come in here now.
That is hilarious. My boys are probably going to come crashing through that door very shortly after they've had their pizza. So yeah, you can expect that. They always want to come and say hello. So yeah. Any new people who are here today, and all the regulars, welcome. Yeah, today we're going to be talking about Beltane. I didn't realize actually that where Franklin is in Africa, it's actually Samhain. It really didn't cross my mind because I knew we were going to be talking about Beltane today. But yeah, it's interesting that it's the opposite for you. I mean, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool, really. But in the same sense, how I'm just trying to wrap my head around that still, because if it's Beltane here in the UK and Samhain where you are, that's not how you pronounce it, is it? So how do you pronounce it? Samhain? Samhain. Anyway, you know what I mean.
I don't really know. Samhain.
I'm all nasally anyway, so whatever I say isn't going to be the right pronunciation, but really, who cares? You know what I'm saying? So, but is there an in-between in somewhere in the world? Or is it your beginning of winter, my beginning of summer, but where's the in-between? Do you know?
That's a really, really brilliant question, brother. That's like a 150-point question. That's like you just dropped the bomb. Like, Mama, do you think they'll drop the bomb? You just dropped the bomb, dude. Pink Floyd is rolling, bro.
That's what I'm about, just finding the middle. It's like, so you're the Samhain, I'm the Beltane, but the middle way is always the most interesting. It's the most awkward as well, which is why I like it, because it's all about digging and finding the in-between. So
on the equator, that's like a really interesting point. Because if you're on the equator, right, then what are you getting? Is it perpetual meanness, middleness? Like that's a really interesting question. Like, what do you? Because how do seasons work on the equator? It must just be a perpetual season, right? Are there no equators in the season? There must be absolutely are there no seasons on equator? There can't be, because if the sun doesn't move north or south, then so the equator doesn't actually experience seasons at all. Yeah. So there's no such thing as Samhain, or it doesn't exist. There's an interesting concept. It doesn't exist. So these Samhain and Beltane are just part of a cycle between extremes. And on the equator, you just don't have the extremes, right? It's just a consistent flow of, consistent weather. Because think about it. The sun's always above you on the equator, right? So is there a difference between summer and winter temperatures? Maybe the water coming from other places. That's really interesting. I never really actually considered. Yes, the equator experience virtually the exact warm temperatures year round. They don't have summer or winter.
Well, in Norway, they have 24 hours of sun sometimes.
I don't know how I'd work with that.
I'd actually really like that. I think it's probably really good to be asleep when the sun's out. I think that, because I've always thought we're asleep at night and we clearly like leave our body while we're asleep. The moon's there. When you have a nap during the day, first off, it's really good for you to have a siesta, a nap during the day if you can. And also, when I do have naps during the day, I'm able to remember my dreams so much more. They seem so much clearer. And I think that there's just something about falling asleep when the sun's out. It's really nice. It's really, really nice. So I'd quite like to live somewhere like that for a short while, but I love the seasons too much. I couldn't deal with the not changing of the seasons, but I could definitely live somewhere other than England that has a lot more sun. Definitely.
Yeah, dude. I mean, Cape Town's pretty much as good as it gets. Like when it comes to weather, because we're just perfect. Our summers we get a warm breeze in winter and a cool breeze in summer. So in summer we got wind chill, and in winter we got wind warm. So the warm wind warms you up in winter. So when it's windy, it gets warmer. And in summer, we get the southeast. It's called the Cape Doctor. And it blows in from the fresh Atlantic Ocean, right? Blows in all that fresh Atlantic Ocean air onto us from all of the phytoplankton making fresh oxygen and air and everything and recycling the air. It just blows it onto Cape Town. So you've got continual fresh air. We don't know what smog looks like. There's no such thing as chemtrails. They can't make chemtrails here. Even when the airplanes fly, the airplanes make chemtrails because they've got nanoparticles in the fuel. But because of the wind here, it gets dispersed and blown out to sea immediately. So it's just there's no pollution here, and the weather's really great. I mean, sure, like you can't leave a jacket or a car or a bag or anything in your car because like the window will get broken. I was making jokes with my girlfriend. Well, she was making the joke actually. She was saying that she'd always thought it would be a cool, like Big Brother TV series, where people were like, they got like these hard boys from like Germany, hard boy like a gangster boy from Russia, hard boy gangster boy from London, hard boy gangster boy from like America, from the Bronx, and release them into Johannesburg, Hillbrow, all blinged up with gold and diamonds and expensive phone and expensive jackets and clothes and Rolex watch and like follow them with drones and see like if they can get outside of Johannesburg without getting robbed. Like it'd be a funny show because like you wouldn't get out of that place and bling if you're a Western. If you're not local, you're gonna get robbed like on the next street corner, you know. So yeah, that's South Africa for you. That would be our version of Big Brother. That would be a hit. I reckon that'd be a show. Would be a pretty good hit. You know,
it would. Yeah.
Don't know how safe it would be. You know, because people might get hurt. But as long as you don't hold on to your stuff, like if you get robbed, you know, like if you don't stop them from taking it, you won't get shot. So you know, because there's a lot of guns around South Africa. Yeah, man. Who's here? Salty. Big love, Salty. I hope you're good. I hope you're well. So getting back to the topic, you know, are you going to make a fire? It's good to
today,
make a fire.
No. Well, we were supposed to be going to the beach this evening with some friends and their kids, and obviously our boys, to do like a little ceremony which me and Esme organised, but we've had to cancel because Esme is just really tired in the evenings, and I had a fever not last night, the night before, so I'm just trying to be a bit careful. We didn't think it was a good idea to go to the beach. Basically, it would have been nice to go to the beach, have a fire, play some music, take our instruments, have a little ceremony, have food and stuff like that. But we didn't really feel up to it. Tomorrow daytime though, we're going to a ceremony on a farm nearby, a Beltane ceremony with somebody who I know who's a shaman, and so that'd be nice.
Nice. Yeah, well, you know, it's really a powerful time. Like for those of you that are in the Northern Hemisphere, it's really such a good time to be focusing constructively. So it's a really good time to sit down, take out a pen and paper right now. So this is like, you know, solution. This is solution based. What's a really good practice to have on a Beltane? Take out a pen and paper and do a brainstorm. What opportunities have been coming to you in the spring? What inspiration, what ideas, and which of those inspirations and ideas you would like to see take root? And make a list, and then break that list down and try and get a really narrow focus, 1 or 2 or 3 things that you want to focus on, things that you want to see bearing fruit, you know, like it could be a goal, career goal. You've noticed that there's this thing that you're getting better at and you want to get better at it and you want to turn that into something. It could be your own business, right? You could be noticing that, like, you know, you had this idea to branch out to this element of business and add it into your business profile. You thought, interesting. Well, now's the time to be structuring your plans. So, okay, what can I do? That's the goal. That's where I want to be in the middle of summer. Now, the middle of summer is like almost 2 months away, right? 6 weeks away. What can I do over the next 6 weeks, step by step, to implement this, to actually get somewhere with manifesting? So it's a very powerful time to manifest. Today is the most powerful time in the year for manifestation. I can't stress that enough. If you want to manifest positive things, Northern Hemisphere, that's what you should be doing. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere, it's the exact opposite. What patterns are not working for you, you want to break that down. Which patterns are really, and you've been aware about it since the past 6 weeks, the past 3 months, say, actually, specifically, but most acutely the last 6 weeks. And you've been aware that this is a cycle that you're stuck in and you want to improve that energy. You want to get to a better place. You brainstorm that and you isolate it to 3 or 2 or 1. 1 is really optimal. And this is what you want to change. This is one you want to drop. This is a cycle that's not working for you. And, you know, you can do a fire ritual and you can drop that into the fire. Yeah. You can take a herb, like we've got Hottentots koya, which is mpepu, which is like the strongest kind of sage you'll find anywhere in the world. It's really pungent sage. It's the strongest sage. It's a sacred indigenous Bushman spiritual cleaning Sangoma herbs here for bringing the ancestral spirits. And you can, pull the sage off of the plant and roll it into a ball, put it to your heart, because the sage is going to bring the wisdom for how to transcend that. But the sage is also going to bring the ancestral spirit and the wisdom for how to manifest the things that you need to manifest in your life to bring the positivity. So on the one element, you've got the manifestation. On the other element, you've got the release, the unmanifestation. Isn't that an interesting concept? Everybody wants to manifest, but maybe we should also be unmanifesting.
Unmanifesting. I like it. Yeah, this the full moon in Scorpio today is 11 degrees of Scorpio, which is interesting. I've been seeing 111 everywhere recently. Well, not everywhere, just the times 111, like very often. And today is the 1st, and this moon is in Scorpio at 11 degrees. And my ascendant is Scorpio at 29 degrees, which is an 11. My life path number is the number 11. And also Taurus is at 11 degrees. I'm not sure where. I heard today Taurus is at 11 degrees. So lots of 11s. So I think on a personal level, I think this is quite powerful full moon today. So yeah, we'll try and do some kind of meditation or something later. Definitely. And also as well, because it's, I think around this time with Beltane, the Fae are we're closer to the Fae realm. So it'll be interesting to see what Cosmic has to say tomorrow about that. Although he's in America, so it might be different because it's not Beltane. Oh, is it Beltane in America? Northern Hemisphere, yeah, so it will be. Yeah, so the Fae.
Even down as far south as Mexico.
Okay, so yeah, the Fae are quite like drawn to like flowers and stuff, and fire they like as well. So we have like the fire element of the Fae, and then also the moon being in Scorpio, which, did you say it was cardinal water sign?
Fixed Taurus is the bull, is the fixed water. Scorpio represents the element of water of all the signs, and Leo represents the element of fire because it's fixed fire. Aquarius represents the element of air because it's fixed air. So the fixed signs are the foundations of the elemental energies.
Okay, that's probably why I'm so drawn to the water realms, or everything to do with water, because my ascendant being such a high degree of Scorpio. But yeah, Taurus is an earth sign, but it's closer to fire as well. I see Taurus as kind of a mix of fire and earth. I'm not sure why that is. What's the next sign after Taurus? No, so Aries and then Taurus. There we go. That's why, because it's an earth sign that's next to fire sign. So I always view Taurus as kind of a mix of both fire and earth. So then we have Earth, Taurus, being grounded, and then the beginning of summer, so the fire, and then also the water element of the moon. And Scorpio, of all the water signs, represents the deep oceans, I believe, like the depths of the water, and the moon representing our emotions and subconscious. So now's probably a very good time to sort of tap into and tune into the well that is inside of us all, which we get to by going into the waters and letting the water flow through us, the water being the linking with the emotions. So I think that with the Scorpio full moon, I think usually there's very heightened emotions and stuff. So good job we got some sun here finally. So yeah, I think it's a very powerful energy to work with, this Scorpio full moon. And
You meant,
yeah, no, carry on.
I was going to say, you mentioned that it's 11 degrees, and he has like a point for us to sort of consider, which is quite interesting. So if you imagine that, like imagine the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30. That's 10, right? And then the first, that's 11, right? So Taurus begins on the 1st, 21st, 22nd, 23rd. So this is the 11th day of Taurus. So we are 11 degrees into the sun sign of Taurus. Do you see that correlation?
So yeah, so we're 11 degrees into Taurus, and then
Yeah.
the moon is at 11 degrees too. 1111, like that's a well-known manifestation number. When you see those numbers, it's a really good time to manifest. That means you're in sync. So I think maybe like today is a good time for people to like orientate themselves, sort of align themselves. um you know um I'm gonna look into like what while we're on the topic, because I don't, I've said this quite a few times, I don't meditate, and I know I should, because I like very kind of off. I need to be a bit more grounded, I guess, even though I'm Sun Capricorn, Moon, rising or ascendant Scorpio. I have become more grounded, but I think meditation is something I keep saying I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do it. But like, what are some, because I don't really like meditate. I mediate. This is why I like the middle way, the central point. I try to just meditate all the time rather than just like, oh, I'm going to meditate now. Just try to meditate all the time when I hear stuff, see stuff, just be in that flow of meditating. But quieting the mind, I guess, would be something quite useful. But my question is, what some good ways to use this energy? Like you mentioned, like sage, but like what are some good ways, like writing things down and burning them? What about with water? Do you know of any good ways of using water? Because that's using the fire element, sort of burning way. I'm just wondering if there's any kind of manifestation things, to techniques or whatever to do using water, because the way I view it is that I've been looking into the Iron Soth recently, and it sounds like it's the black sun, and like this well, this depth, which is inside all of us. And it's like, to get there, you travel along the subconscious. So I think that this is very powerful energy, this Scorpio full moon, um, for us to travel inwards and find that black sun, that black light inside all of us, which is the truth. The white light, which people get given sometimes, can be hiding darkness behind it, but this dark light is something that's inside all of us. And then when you activate that, you have no fear. Like you're just, it's our that's our center. That's what I view as our core. And I think that this moon might be a very powerful energy to find that core inside all of us, and we travel there on the subconscious, because there's blocks being put up to stop us traveling along through the waters to get to our core, and we do that by the subconscious. So I think that this moon may be very powerful for that. So yeah, someone's mentioned Scorpio, deep shadow work. I mean, yeah, like any tips on what I or people can do to sort of enhance this energy?
Well, basically, it's like this. You would use the fire or the water in the way that it's appropriate for the season. So if it's the time of decay, it's the time to wash. It's the time to cleanse, right? So Samhain is a time of cleansing. So you would take the sacred wash. You would bless your water, and you would use that sacred blessing water. You would baptize yourself and wash yourself with that. So it's a baptism kind of a rite. Wash away all the patterns that are constricting you. You would smoke away all the patterns using fire, for example. Burn away the things that you wish to burn away. Smoke away the things that you wish to smoke away using a sage smudge, for example. It's the Samhain. If you were in the place of the northern hemisphere where you are, and you're on the opposite side of the ball, or if it's a ball, we don't know what it is. I'm not going to pretend I know what it is. But let's just say if you're on the opposite side of the sun, that's probably the more accurate way of putting it, then you would be doing the opposite. You would, for example, your water ritual would be about taking the water into yourself for nourishment purposes. So you would take your water and you would charge your water. You could use the appropriate stone, like hypothetically. Let's say you want to improve your business, your career, right? And you want to give your career power. You might get a ruby or a stone that is a solar stone, right? That relates to lion, like a tiger's eye or something. And put this into your water after cleansing the stone. Cleanse it with salt water and then put it into your clean, clear water that you've bubbled beforehand to maximize the oxygen. Soak this in the water and speak your poetry over into the water, or chant your sacred syllables into the water. Hold the water to your heart. Visualize the radiance of the sun flowing through you into the water, loading that water with intention. You can even put the water in the sun for a short period of time. Obviously not too long. You don't want to grow like weird mold and stuff in the water. But putting it in the direct sunlight can be quite powerful for the sun to radiate the water as well. And then you put your intentions into the water using these various techniques, especially like with a gemstone in the water. You could write your sigil, you'll draw your sigil, you could write your mantra, you could write your intentions onto a container as well to add potency. You could even have a whole ritual that you've designed around empowering this water. You could have the water on your altar, and you could organize a play where you have a play that you partake in around your water in order to invoke these forces into your water. And when you're done, a sacred ceremonial drinking of the water. And in the drinking of the water, you're taking this into yourself to manifest it. That's the opposing water ritual to the cleansing baptism. Cleanse the water, charge the water, empower the water, and use the water to purify your system. So you could say that the Samhain is more based on transformation of the inner, and Beltane is more focused on transformation of the outer, if you want to take it into such a context. So manifesting into your world, how you want to manifest yourself into the world is an outer, how you want to change the forces that are operating backstage in your unconscious within yourself. So, that's an interesting something to consider. And so here's very interesting is with the moon, where you are in the north, you've got the Taurus energy of the sun with the Scorpio energy of the moon, right? Working on your Beltane. But where I am, we've got the Taurus energy of the sun working with the Scorpio energy of the moon on our Samhain. Where in our Beltane, we've got the Scorpio energy of the sun working with the Taurus energy of the moon in our Samhain. So there's a total inversion happening here, which is rather interesting. In fact, and just without jumping off to the next rail, speaking of fire element, for example, an honor of the fire element, you could be, for example, you could, if you are in Beltane, you could use fire to make something. You could manufacture a magical wand. Manufacture magical wand. I like the MM. And you could use the fire to imbue that wand with the will. Does that make sense? As a like, and that wand is now representative of your manifestation of what you want to bring into your future.
Give me 1 sec. I'm just going to find this this wand I have, because I want to show you.
Great. Yeah. So and obviously for the fire purification rites, that is to write down your things that are troubling you, burn them in the fire, take implements that represent certain things that are holding you back in life, burn them in the fire, make sacrifices into the fire, right? So Samhain is more about sacrificing, right, of parts that need to be passed away. And obviously smudging yourself with the smoke, right? To if you get a few bowls with some coals and you put them on around you and you crunch up a whole lot of sage, dry it out and just put it onto the charcoals and stand there with this charcoal, with the smoke of the sage just burning away all of the stuff in your energy body. That's like a great exercise, like a full smudge, so that you walk out there smelling like sage everywhere, you know. So I love you, my boy. Please don't disturb me, my son. I'm going to be with you now. My little boy's out there blowing me kisses. He's so cute. When he's cute, he's cute. When he's not cute, he's not cute. But you know the story.
Here's a wand I have that somebody made at a festival. This end bit here, though, would be perfect for putting a little crystal on. And I was going to wrap copper wire around it. So this bit just here, I was going to put a little crystal in the end and wrap copper wire around it. I was going to give it to Orion when he's a little bit older, because he's 7 now, but I think he's a bit too young still to have it. It would just get whacked or broken. But
maybe it's for you. Maybe he can go and find his own wand in the forests when he turns. You can take him on an adventure.
Yeah. So somebody at festival, I was actually going to take him to a wand making workshop, but there weren't any spaces left. And the guy who was running the workshop actually gave me this wand, because I went back there the next day to see if there are any more spaces. I think something like that. Can't remember. It was a while ago. But this wand's slightly burnt, so he just gave it to me, and I've had it for a couple of years now. Been meaning to do something with it. So
can I tell you what's better than paying for a wand making workshop?
What's that? Buying
a Dremel.
What's that?
Buying a Dremel. Oh my gosh, you don't know what a Dremel is. A Dremel is it's a small power tool, but it can do everything. It can engrave. It can.
Oh yeah.
So when you buy the Dremel, you can shape the wood with this Dremel, it's got cutters, it's got sandpapers, it's got files, it's got this, it's got everything you can imagine, and you can turn that wand into a piece of work. Like you could literally do like little careful patterns all over the wood, and you could like, because you don't really need to learn how to make a wand. The specs are, I would say, look at the length of your bones. If you want to customize it to your body, align it with the size of your body. Yeah, you could make it the same length as your femur, for example. Does that make sense?
So the wood of this one is a rowan wood, I think, and he explained it to me that it's got all four elements, because the wood is of course the earth element, and then he explained it all to me. It sounded quite interesting. But how did he make it again? Something to do with like have the wood, and then you you know what? Can't remember. It's probably something I should have remembered. maybe it'll come back to me another time. But yeah, a Dremel drill. I think I've seen them. We might have used to have one of those a few years ago for like engraving wood, like sort of writing on wood. Yeah, Ori would love that.
Yeah, you see the manufacturing. Oh yeah, sorry. Carry on, brother.
No, I was just gonna say I'm probably gonna have to head off in like not too long, maybe potentially. But I'm just giving a heads up, because sometimes we talk for like 3 hours and it seems like no time at all. But yeah, I'm gonna have to head off shortly. Yeah, maybe in like the next 15 minutes or so. So I just wanted to just say that.
I was also thinking not to do it too long, because my boys was giving me a hint like, Dad, where are you? Dad, son, come on. Dad, boys, dad, son time. Gotta go make him cow and all of that. There's something I wanted to point out to people. Okay, so just before I jump onto that with the wand story, there's a lot of stories with the wands, and there's a lot of ways to make a wand. I suggest that you follow your heart when it comes to this. That's just my advice. I mean, I've tried lots of different ways. I've made staves for myself. The length of the wood matters. You want it to be personalized. So you want it to be in alignment with your own body, right? So you want to take a dimension of your body and make the wood according to that dimension. That's like the first important point. Second point is you want to use water. You want to use fire, and you want to use air, right? I use the element of earth as well. So how do you use the element of earth? You plant the staff into the ground and you imbue it with intention. You then take the staff out of the ground and you soak it in water. And when you soak it in water, it gets soft. You can bend it and shape it. Then you take it out after soaking it in water. You keep it straight by bracing it, and you expose it to the air and the wind so that it sucks the water out of it. Once it's dried sufficiently, you make a fire and you then expose it to the fire. So in this way, you're exposing it to all four elements, and it wood holds within it the fire of the sun from photosynthesis, the water that travels up and down the xylem, right? And the oxygen that it breathes in and out of the system, right? To move up and down the plant. And obviously the element of earth, right? Because it's sucking minerals, literally sucking minerals and literally sucking carbon out of the air. And the carbon out of the air it removes from the CO2 in order to build onto the carbon. So it's got all four elements in it, but I would introduce these four elements in that fashion. but you customize it to how you feel and work with it within your elemental states. And then you want to have invocations and prayers that relate to those elements, a play that you've created, a story that you do, a dance, a rhythm. If you got a drum, you want to have a rhythm, the rhythm of fire, the rhythm of water, the rhythm of earth, the rhythm of air. You want to find that rhythm. You want to go and sit outside and listen to the wind. Talk to the wind. Wind, come talk to me. Tell me the rhythm for the wind. Ah, this is the rhythm of wind. Thank you very much. I am in your debt. And you do the same for the water. You go and sit by the water, listen to the bubbling brook, listen to the ocean, find the rhythm of water. The same with the fire. Sit in front of a fire and contemplate the fire, listening to the crackling and the dancing of the wood inside there, and the bending and the cracking. And there's the rhythm of fire. The fire will tell you what its rhythm is. And as for the earth, you listen to the sound of the earth and you find the silence of the earth. And you'll notice that within the earth, there is its own rhythmic frequency. And so you can use a drum to empower it wonderfully. And once you've done these things, then you want to put your thoughts onto the wood. Perhaps you might not. You might want to engrave your sigils onto the wood. You might want to engrave your sacred names that you're chanting onto the wood. And you want to personalize it. You want to give it your own feeling, whatever you want to put onto it. But so that wand making is like it's a very personal thing. It's like making art. Think of it as an art project, right? That you're putting your soul into. And however your soul wants to go into, that's how you put your soul in. Now, the interesting thing with the elements, this is something that we've spoken about. Like when we speak of occultism, and so generally speaking in occult practices, they'll say that east is always air. East is always air and west is always water. Right. But in the northern hemisphere, they speak about south being fire and north being earth. Okay. So that's like most magical rites that come from Europe. We'll talk about that. North America, the same. If you go to South America, guess what? The traditional medicine of the South Americans say that the fire element is in the north and the earth element is in the south. If you come here to Southern Africa, where I am, Sangoma traditions, many of the local Sangoma traditions will say that the fire element is in the north and the earth element is in the south. So this is a very interesting thing to think about, because where I am in South Africa, for example, north-facing windows will get the most sunlight, the most heat. In England, it's a south-facing window that'll get the most sunlight and heat. So if you buy a house in England, it's got south-facing windows, you're going to get lots of natural heat and sunlight into your home, right? You'll save money on your heating bill. But if you don't have south-facing windows, you're going to pay more money on your heating bill, because you get less of the actual heat of the sun coming into your home, which is literally fire. So there's like things to think about, like the south and the north. And literally, if you look at the indigenous cultures, they have these differences, although Western ceremonial magic tends to apply the rigid rule that it's always the north is earth and the south is fire. But actually...
Well, I've always, and we've spoken about this, I've always, in my mind's eye, if I was going to draw a diagram of the elements, like a cross, I'd put air as the north, east as the fire, south as the earth, and west as the water. And for me, that makes sense. I mean, it depends where we're talking about, like where you are on the earth and stuff. But me, like wherever I am, I just always think the mind is air, right? Which is up, and then the earth is under us. It's the grounding, and then the right hand side is the east. The right hand side is the action, the fire, the masculine, and also the sun rises in the east. And then the west is the water, because the sun sets in the west. The west is night. You have day, night, masculine, feminine, left, right, red, blue. And then the up and down, air is up, and then like lighter, and then the south is grounded. and that's how I've always visualized it. So it depends. Like that's my psyche. That's the psyche. That's how I navigate things. If we're talking about the earth, that's a different realm. That's a different kind of, that's matter. And then there's different ways. So yeah, that's my own system I've made up to stay centered, to just be like, right, air is the mind, and the mind is up or out, and then earth is grounding, got to be the south, because the south is my legs, is my feet are on the ground, and then the fire, water, masculine, feminine. So yeah, it's interesting to hear about all the different ways though.
Yeah, so like working with these elemental energies and the spirit of these elemental potencies and potentials is like, it's really like powerful medicine. And then there's obviously going to be elements that you can use, right? Like literal elements, you know, like stones, gems, you know, watery gems, fiery gems. Guess which one a fire opal is? Not too hard to guess. Do you know what I mean? Like you can figure this stuff out by looking at the gem and talking to the gem and having the gem show you. Ruby, pretty fiery. Garnet, pretty fiery, right? You look at a gem like turquoise. Wow, turquoise is out there, dude. It's like up in the sky, turquoise. You know, it's a very airy gem, and it makes your mind feel very airy. But you've also got like watery gems. You've got earthy gems as well. You know, what's an earthy gem? It's like a diamond. Why? It's hard as hell. You know, there's hard, strong gems. It's like tough. Like you can't break this thing. You can cut other gems with this gem because it's so hard. It's earth. So, you know, sapphire, Saturn. Sapphires are the stone of Saturn. Diamond is the stone of Taurus, for example, Venus. So, you know, you start getting this idea of noticing how these gems are related to different planetary energies. And so using gems, if you've got a stone, you can borrow the vibration of that stone and put it into another thing, like a piece of wood, for example, like a staff, right? You don't have to fix the stone to the wood and leave it there. It can be part of a ritual where you're drawing the essence of the stone and using that to call forth more of likeness, right? It's homeopathy is based on this. Homeopathy is based on having a very small amount of something that produces a vibration of that field, and then that will bring out your own vibration to create more of that vibration, so that everything starts to go onto that frequency, and that frequency then becomes something that you'll tune in. Or that's like the advanced homeopathies when they're making tinctures, and you know they're moving it to like 1/1,000,000th part of something, of a vibration, very subtle, where it's not medicine for your body, it's subtle, it's for your consciousness, you know. So
Yeah.
homeopathy's got like many levels in it, like different depths.
Yeah, it allows your body to remember. So it's just like it's letting your body know what that frequency is. You know, so homeopathy is you can look at like vaccines as the phallus, you know, injection, and then homeopathy is a circle, is a sphere, it's more feminine. So you have the action of the like penetration of the like war on health, and then you have the homeopathy, which is a frequency, which is just allowing your body to remember what it is to be healthy.
I gotta say this, man. I'm seeing her sitting behind you now, like an old lady spirit, like a mother spirit.
Sitting by me.
And yeah. Look in your camera. You'll see it in your camera if you look in the camera. And she's got like a very interesting face, man. She's got like a fairly largish nose. She looks like she's Aboriginal or something. I wonder if you've got some
Which side?
some like, hey,
This side?
yeah. and it's just the shape of her face is like an unusual shape. It's not like some kind of an Aboriginal tribe. Namaste, Gary. How you doing? But like it's like an ancestral root of like past old past lives. You see,
That's so interesting.
we like me, I'm white now, right? And I'm like this, and I'm like this, and I've got this heritage. But 3,000, 1,000 years ago, my ancestors traveled across the whole of Asia, maybe 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years, 5,000 years ago. My ancestors may have traveled across Asia. They may have come from some Asian village somewhere from like 5,000 years ago. And before then, they may have been displaced by other conditions 5,000 years before then. They may have had some ancestral connection to some island somewhere, right? 10, 15,000 years ago. We don't know. We're just assuming there's no technology, but maybe there was. We had ships and boats like many thousands years ago, like when we were building pyramids and stuff. And so maybe we displaced and moved around to different times. And then in that place, there were other people there. And so you mated and changed. And now I'm like this and I look like this because I've got like 99% of this DNA or 98% of that. But there's still like pieces, like I've got pieces inside of me that are black. And I can't stay like, if this is an interesting thing, when people go and get DNA tests, they get a DNA test and they say, oh, you're 98% this, you're 96% or 97% this, you're 0.5% this, you're not. I bet you that every human being's got some genes from Africa, some genes from Asia, some genes from, right? And when they break down the genetics, this is what they say. They discover like, and so a lot of people come to me and they say, wow, I've got genes from this place, but only like 0.000% or 0.1. But that's like an ancestral memory from very, very long ago, if that makes sense. So we could have like ancestors that don't look like us. They could be like an Indian ancestry. Do you understand what I mean? That come from a different place, that have a different, like reddish. That person's got like a reddish skin color. They look almost Mayan, dude.
Would you say like Atlantean? Because the way I
don't know. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, it's interesting you say this side because when I had a soul retrieval session a few years ago, with the shaman who's hosting this ceremony tomorrow, she saw a long line of ancestors on my right side, on this side, like a really long line of ancestors. So it's interesting you say it's that same side. And the reason why I mentioned Atlantean is because I'm Celtic and Norse. That's what the DNA thing brought up and said. And it's interesting because I view Celtic people as descendants from Atlantis. And my reason for that is because they can't just be Irish because it's a very small island. But what would be off the coast of Ireland would have been more landmass, which is now sunk, which is most likely Atlantis. So they would have been from further west. And when there was a cataclysm, they spread out. But I think a lot of them might have gone to Ireland. And this is why the Irish have such a fighting spirit. And this is why there's been this is why there's been a lot to kind of Irish people are travelers too, so they have that in their blood to travel. That's because I believe Atlanteans would have been traveling worldwide, all over. So perhaps Native Americans with that color skin, the red skin, would have also been Atlanteans. Maybe they went to the Americas, and maybe some went to Egypt too. And then maybe over time in Ireland, the Atlanteans there, skin color started getting more white because of less sun, perhaps. But I've always thought that, if so many people have Irish blood or Celtic blood, it can't be all from Ireland. It has to be from before, somewhere before that. What was before? Probably Atlantis. And I think that I think maybe perhaps I've been here, and a lot of us have been here before. Like, this isn't our first rodeo. There's in the Emerald Tablets, it mentions the energy, the essence of what's going on now in the Emerald Tablets. Perhaps before that, the same things happened again as well. And I think that I don't really know about choosing to be here or whatever, or soul contracts or anything like that. But what I do understand is that I think that our frequency, which is our core, our soul, has decided to come here again at this time, perhaps, because so much of what's going on seems so familiar with the emergence of the artificial, and all of the people who are black sheep or scapegoats, or who recognize that there's a disconnect in humanity. The old souls remember that's because we've been here before, because we're of the earth. We're not from fucking other planets. You know, this is my opinion. Most of us are here from the earth, from this realm, and it's not what we think. Like you said earlier, not round, not flat. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't really care. I'm more interested in the middle way of what if? What if it's a realm that we don't quite understand now, and that it's been covered up, and that it's interdimensional, and that it's to do with, you know, it's so layered. It's always, everything's layered. That's what's interesting about looking into things. And we've been conditioned to not look into things. And if you ask questions, you're told that you have a disorder, and you don't fit in. So I think all of the people, all of us who've never really fit in, who've gone against the grain, we've been here before, and we've recognized that there's something that's something wrong with what's going on, you know. But with Atlantis, like all these old world buildings, especially in London, I'd love to share some, but I don't have them to hand. That we were connected to the earth and water, whereas now what's happening, we're more connected to the air element, the mind, but not the world soul, not the spirit or the soul, not the psyche, the mind, the more mechanical, quantified, digital, programmable essence of what the mind represents. Whereas before we would have been connected to this realm, which is earth. And as way I view it, the earth is Sophia, and there's a story of Sophia being trapped for 11,000 years, and I think that links with the Younger Dryas as well, and the flood. And I think that we're all connected to the world soul, which is Sophia, which is this earth. And that's how, when you meet people, you can kind of, whether it's from past lives or whatever, you can kind of, there's some certain people in life who you just like get on with, like straight away. You see them for what they are. And I think that, I mean, this is a topic for another time, but I'd love to talk about the Iron Sof, the Black Sun, Yggdrasil, the World Tree, the Whirlpool, the Center, the Demiurge, because I think that's all really, really important. So perhaps we can, next time we have a chat, we can get into that, because that's going to be like another however many hours, linking all of those together, because the Demiurge is interesting, and I think that it's a twin, it's a dualistic aspect, and it ties into the Iron Sof and Sophia, the Black Sun, our center, the well, you know, which we spoke about a little bit, and the tree, like our roots, our ancestor tree, and how we're all connected to it. And it's not about going outwards, it's more about digging deeper, going into the earth, into the water, to connect to these roots which are under us, you know.
Yeah, maybe even tomorrow on the round table. We'll have to calculate the numbers tonight and see what we can pull out. But it might be it's like a proper round table topic. Well, good 4 hours for that one. But yeah, man, totally. The Ein Sof, I think, is also an incredibly profound topic. And it relates to like very deep states of consciousness. As for the black sun, that's also the black light you mentioned. That's a Sufi contemplation. It comes from the Sufi tradition, where they put a lot of. We did a roundtable about that, but it's a very mysterious topic, because the black light is the light behind unmanifest. Hey, Tom Rue, how you doing? Big love, brother. Hope you're well. So yeah, no, I think you're totally on point. And we've been going now for. Sorry, everybody, about the beginning. By the way, we've been going for like an hour and 20 minutes. Sorry, the first live went tits up. By the way, apologies. Because I was trying to get the YouTube studio to work. So yeah, Tom Rue, Saturday round table. Looking forward to it, man. But yeah, brother, I suppose this is probably a good time to wrap up for today. We just popped out lastminute.com sort of idea just to do a short, unless you got a few things you want to say, last ideas, last thoughts.
No, not really, but I did get this beautiful instrument the other day, which I'd like to show people. It's a koshi, it's called. They do like 4 different elements. So this is aria, like air.
Beautiful chimes inside you.
Yeah, there's a little glass ball with some chimes, and we brought it for the baby, so that it can hear it. And when we first started playing it, as we said, like her whole body could feel it. So so a little ritual with every evening playing that on her belly. It's a lovely sound. Reminds me of like music of the spheres, and I can't remember where I've heard that before. So I've tried searching, but when you bang your drum, when you're playing your drum for a while, you can hear all kinds of sounds. Apparently, those are spirits. There's like a ringing, a resonance. It's like the sound in between all things. Like when I had my soul retrieval journey a couple of years ago, you could hear the resonance of everything, and it sounded sort of like that, sort of like this really high pitched resonance, but it's really, really cool. I'm gonna get a drum. Me and Esme were supposed to we're gonna go to London with and both make drums on my birthday last year, but my mum was going to have the boys, but she wasn't able to, so we had to cancel that. So I like the idea of making our own drum.
I want to share something with you.
Yeah.
Just so you know what I'm talking about.
1 second. Somebody's asked what tone it is. I just want to say it does have the keys on here. So the aria is A, C, E, A, B, C, E, B. And it has the different elements. But yeah, we like the sound of this. I was like, yeah, let's get the water one. But this one sounds pretty nice.
So I'm going to show you a really cheap, easy solution. Are you ready? This is for your baby, brother. Are you ready? Are you with me? I hope you can see me. Yeah? Yes, you can see me. Good, it's on the screen. Okay, so this is 25 quid, right? This is 40 watts and ultra quiet, right? The design of this pump, I'll send you the link afterwards, right? It can lift up to 2.2 meters high lift, but you won't need it that high. Right. Your top, you've got a nozzle here to put your silicone tubing onto. Okay. So 40 watts, just to give you an idea, ultra quiet. So 40 watts means 10 is 400 watts, 20 is 800 watts, 4 times 40 is 160, 960 watts for 24 hours. 960 watts is 1 kilowatt hour rate in UK. I'll just break it down for you so you understand like the financial breakdowns of it. Right. So you're going to use about electricity. It's going to cost you for electricity, right? 24.67 pence per kilowatt. Let's say 25 pence per day. It's going to be less than 25 pence per day. So 10 days is £2.50. 30 days is it costs you £7.50 a month to run this pump 24 hours a day. Okay. Now, why do you want to run this pump 24 hours a day? So the pump costs, as we know, as we figured out, 25 quid. Then what you do is you get a length of silicone tube, like 3 or 4 feet, costs you a few quid. Nice, or any kind of piping, right? Silicone, kind of, it doesn't matter so much. But I would get silicone because it can be your drinking water fountain, right? That's what I'm saying. So then what you do is you go to charity shops, right? And you buy nice old bowls. I hope you're with me. You buy nice old bowls. And you buy one bowl, you buy a bigger bowl, and you buy a bigger bowl, and you buy a bigger bowl, right? And you want to be able to get like maybe basically what you want to do is you want to construct a system where you have water going into one bowl, but the bowl's on a slight tilt. That water goes into another bowl, which is in a slight tilt. And those goes into another one, which goes into a bowl that you've drilled a hole in the bottom with a drill, right? So this is why you go to charity shops and you buy a whole lot of bowls, big size bowls. It might take you a while to find the construction, but you've got a whole lot of time till your baby comes. But the quicker you find it, the better. But you understand it's going to be cheap to buy these things in charity shops. Am I right? You'll find this bowl for 4 quid. You'll find this bowl for 2 quid. Find this bowl for a £5. Over like a month or a couple of months, you might even go to London at some point. And when you go to London, go and check all the charity shops. I recommend you go to Queensbury, Kingsbury, go to the end of the Jubilee line, and you jump off in like zone 3 and you walk along the high street. Maybe you'll do it on your own and you go to those charity shops. There are loads of charity shops up that end of North London. And you'll on that one street, you'll see about 30 charity shops. You can buy like nice clothes, secondhand clothes that's really nice, high quality. But also you can find a lot of these kind of bowls. You might even find crystal bowls for cheap. I used to buy loads of crystal sets in that Jubilee place because there's a lot of cool stuff there. So anyway, you go and collect these. So you should be able to buy your set of bowls for about 20 quid, right? Like a whole set. And then you've got like a container at the bottom, which you would also buy for it, like a big pot or whatever it is. And the bowl in the bottom one, the end one, you've drilled a hole down the bottom, right? And you can put a silicone tube into it, right? Or you could get a piece of copper pipe, a small piece of copper pipe from your local store, right? Like a cheap one. And just literally drill the hole and just fit the copper pipe into the hole. Does that make sense? That you have to literally squeeze and fill it in and make it so that it's tight, so that you've got this dribbling down the outside, dribbling down through the copper pipe into your main thing at the bottom. And this way you will build a water fountain. You will have constant moving water, constant chi flow, constant sound of dribbling, moving water. I mean, you can't beat this, man. And your cost is going to be about 50 quid. 50 quid. Are you with me? Maybe 60 quid costs for your piece of copper pipe, and for your main big bowl at the bottom, like a massive big bowl, you might cost you 60, 70 quid, but you build it yourself. You get little old pieces of offcuts, wood to make the construction upon, right? You can go to Skips and collect, like when they're building houses and stuff, and speak to the builders, and they've got loads of pieces of wood that's like awkward size. They just throw them in Skips, and if you say them, can I take? They'll be like, yeah, mate, take a few pieces and get yourself some nice wood and build yourself a water fountain. And that's such a cool project. You can do it with your boys. So there you go. And it will cost you seven quid 50 a month to run a water fountain in the UK. How cool is that?
Great idea. Yeah. So you say use bowls. Is that because, well, like crystal bowls? Is that because they'll
ceramic?
Well, I was just thinking crystal bowls with the water.
Let me explain to you. This is for your drinking water, brother.
Right. I thought you.
And it's a water fountain in the room for your child. And the ions of the moving water produce chi and flow of energy that makes people and plants and animals healthier.
Interesting.
And so what you do is you take water out of there for drinking and add water to it. Take water out of there for drinking and add water to it. You're continually refreshing the water. The water pH will become alkaline because it's moving water, and it's pushing out the positive hydrogen ions, and it's becoming rich in the negative ions, which is alkaline, which is really good for your body, purifying your body. And it's like drinking water off of a waterfall. You know, when you drink water from a waterfall, it's got that, like, it's almost like you're drinking fizzy water. It's not fizzy, but the chi is so strong in the water that it feels like you can feel the energy in your mouth. It's like, you just want to drink more and more. It'll make you drink a lot of water. But I was just thinking that this is a cheap solution that gives you a renewable source of drinking water that's purified, and also it will remove impurities from the water. And the reason I say ceramics or bowls is, it will charge and energize your water, is because ceramics is pure. You don't want plastic bowls. Glass bowls is fine. Ceramics is cool because you can drill a hole through ceramics with a drill, right? So you might even in those old charity shops find handmade ceramics bowls. I used to. You with me? Like old handmade bowls that people just donate because they don't really recognize the value of it because it's old. Might have a chip on the side of it or whatever. That's fine. You know, it's got a chip on the side of it. You take a drill and you zzz the chip, and then you tilt the bowl, and that now becomes the pouring place to the next bowl. You see? So you can use your own creativity, but ceramics will keep your bowl, because it's the earth. It's the clay of the earth. It's clean. It's not plastic. It's not rubbish. Glass would be fine. But ceramics has got like a nice tone to it. I don't know if you've noticed. If you ever tapped on ceramic bowls, especially the reddy brown ceramic, like the thicker brown. So that's why I said go and check. You might find really nice handmade bowls, and you can 3 or 4 bowls. You can build yourself a beautiful. That pump can pump up to 2 meters high, but you won't need to pump up to 2 meters high. You can have the structure about as high as your head at the top, right? Or a bit higher than your head. And then the pump will be in the bottom. The pump will be in the water, and it will be sucking it up through. It's a magnetic pump. It sucks the water up and it moves it through. So anyway, that's just food for thought. You can find a different pump as well. You can find an inline pump. You can take a look at pumps. An inline pump will have a tube that goes in with silicon. Silicon's pure tube. It's the best tube to use, right? Because it's not plastic. It's silicon. It's basically, once again, the earth. So silicon and copper I would use for contact. No plastic tubes. And if you're using silicon and copper, then it's feasible for drinking water. If you use plastic tubes, I wouldn't use it for drinking water, obviously. Yeah.
It's just occurred to me the name Silicon. You know, you have Silicon Valley. Sounds like silicon, as in it's a silicon. It's in the name. It's a Silicon Valley. We're being conned. Yeah, no, great tips. The only thing, because I've wanted to have a little water feature in the house, because I love like flow of water, and water's happiest when it's moving as well. It's really good before you have a glass of water or a drink from a bottle to give it a little shake, little spin. Water loves spinning. Sorry, the boys are shouting really loudly just outside. I don't know if you can hear them. Trying to get my train of
Boys
thought
will be boys.
back. Yeah, oh, that was it, the boys. So I've wanted to have a little water feature because I love it, and it just makes the air feel really nice. But the boys, the boys.
Well, I'm excited for you having a baby in the house, but that will bring really good chi to the room. And then, as if that's not enough, you get to drink the water, and the water will taste amazing. You won't be able to stop drinking, and the peace that it'll bring into the house will be incredible. And can you imagine how nice it'll be to sleep with that water feature running? You could keep it in the room where mummy sleeps, and then, like, you know, where baby sleeps, right?
Yeah,
That'll be like the water feature room. And so that's really cool. Anyway, it's a cool idea, and it's quite cheap.
Yeah, you've just yeah, thanks for that. I've searched up the one you were looking at, and yeah, you've just reminded me. I have an invention. I've come up with so many inventions in my life, but that's the water. Is that having the fire, the action, and actually creating them? It's my only fire is Sagittarius in Venus. That's my only fire. So I have an invention, and I think what you said about writing it down, things down, and burning it using the fire element, I'm going to do that this evening. Although writing it down, burning it might not be a great idea. I might have to write it down and like pin it up in the fridge or something to actually remember. Maybe I'll do both. But
get charcoal from the sacred fire and write it with the sacred charcoal from the sacred fire. Are you with me?
Yeah.
That's how you put the spirit of fire into your words.
Okay. Interesting
idea.
Well, the wand, because it's been slightly burnt at the end, I think I'll be able to write with the wand. And I think that if I heat it up slightly, maybe even just burn it a little bit more, I'll use the wand to write. Maybe I'll just use it to draw my sigil. Maybe that's
incredibly genius. Yeah, man. That's how you can put your fire element onto things using your wand, heating it on the edge. You could even get like a heating tool or a lighter and just use a bit of fire, because fire is fire, man. It doesn't matter where the fire came from. It's still fire. You touch it with fire, and then you can write with that. It will put the spirit of fire into it. And man, that's beautiful. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I have an invention for the corners of rooms to make them less cornery. And I'm not going to say what it is on here, but it's they've always bothered me. Corners of rooms, and like they're everywhere all the time. I don't like right angles. I prefer like curves. So I'm just going to make a note of that really quickly on here, because I've had the idea for years.
Tom Roos said that wands were replaced with pens, and I can believe that. I think in the old times, if we wanted to write, we would get a piece of charcoal, right? And the best way to write or to draw something with charcoal would be to make a fire and take a stick, a little wand, get the end of the wand burning, and then blow it, get it charcoaly, and to this day we do art with charcoal. That was the beginning of carbon pencils, wasn't it? Think about it. It would have started with a piece of thin wood, like a wand. So
Yeah.
that's an interesting concept that they turned wands into pens.
Well, I'll add to that. The wand is our wonder or imagination, and to be penned in means to be confined. So what's happened is that rather than us using our wands, our wandering, our minds have been more confined, restricted, cubed. If you look at all these old world buildings, you wonder how they were built, and you look at them and you're in wonder. You're like, how did they build these? You look at buildings nowadays, right angles, cubed, square, no imagination, no coincidence there. And also with the draw, like you draw with a pen, or you can draw things into this realm with your wandering, like you bring spirit into matter, you bring it in from the formless, where it's from, and then you do the morph, the morphing, the wandering, you draw it into this realm, and that's in form. So you can do that with a pen, yes, but also you can do it with words as well, speaking. You know, abracadabra. As I create, I speak.
Yeah, man. You know, like they wanted us to become pensive. They wanted us to get all pent up. But
Yeah,
there's something interesting with the pent. Maybe it's got to do with the water element. Where the wand is with the fire element. The pen is liquid water with color in the water that you make. So the one is water element and the one is fire element. It's quite interesting, you know. Pen for the pentagram, for bringing the flow of the water. Wand for the wand, for the wonder
yeah.
of the, you know,
I mean,
one.
is yeah, I would say maybe it's more earth. The I guess, well, yeah. I mean, with drawing or writing, you do it on paper. So I guess you're using the water and the wood. I'd say it's more earth because it's what you've written is fixed. Like it's fixed in matter. So you draw, you write, and then it's there, solid. It's so difficult talking when I can hear the kids shouting outside. They sound like they're having a great time, but just, thinking is quite difficult. But yeah, what my point is, with the wand you have the fire, I guess, yeah, and then the writing. God, I wish they'd shut up, you know. I know they're having a good time, but just unnecessary shouting. Yeah, I'll let you talk. Maybe it will come back to me. Your mic's muted, by the way. Sorry, I've just remembered.
Yeah.
Words are more like water. I view words more like water because they're malleable. As you're speaking, they can change and there's more play. So think of the weirds casting your fate. They're at the base of Yggdrasil, where there is the well, which is like the whirlpool, like the spinning. Like words are more malleable, whereas writing, you get paper from trees, which of course the earth, and then when you draw or write, it's fixed. Like earth is more fixed, whereas water is more movement, and it's like singing and talking is more watery. I think, or perhaps, you know, if looking at this, that when you're writing, yeah, with a quill or a pen, you're using ink, which is water, but what's happened now is that people aren't writing in flow, they're more typing, and then there's separation, which, you know, is being disconnected from the water element, which is flow. Interesting though.
Yeah, I definitely think there's something to that. I think there's a lot to be said about the water element being related to the energy and the flow. So where is this thing? Let me find it quickly. There we go. There we go, buddies. We found it. No, we don't want to look at it like that. No, sir. We want to see it like this. Seymour. Jane Seymour. So this is something that I shared, which I don't usually do, and I'll share it, Jack, because I think it's quite interesting. It took me a minute to look into this, consider it, and so I wrote this little thing. So it's basically esoteric deep dive. Ever considered the etymology of the word pagan? Magical power of words. Since this is a pagan celebration, I was contemplating the pagan idea, and so I'll read through it quickly. Come with me on an adventure of thought that uncovers the deep esoteric associations at the heart of the word pagan, connecting it to the magic of the ancients. The proverbial gatekeepers of knowledge would have us believe that the root of the word is of Latin descent, and that it essentially means villager. So the Google AI has been instructed, or more correctly, trained to inform us, stemming from the Latin pagus, meaning village or hamlet, that birthed the Latin word paganus, which we shall pretend doesn't have the word anus in it for obvious reasons. I couldn't resist that. Now, this isn't entirely false, to be fair. However, it's not the complete picture and ignores the fundamental origins of the Latin word pagus, which upon deeper consideration actually stems from the Proto-Indo-European pag, which, if considered, makes much more sense, really, as it shares a narrative-based association with another word, one rather associated with magic, which is where things get more interesting and start making more sense than the mere idea of villager, which seems rather generic and lacking in related meaning to one's understanding of the term pagan. The word fix implies that something needs fixing, means that change is essentially required, that some unification or re-engineering of something possibly broken be required, i.e. alchemy. Another word that could be considered as a proverbial distant cousin could well be the word right, or right, spelt right as in writing, right as in right or left, or right as in correct, that until 600 years ago were often spelt in the same way, as they had not been the standardization we have today of spelling, with words then being spelled essentially as they were pronounced, that being phonetically. Here's where it gets interesting, though. Writing came about due to language being written, which started with the farmer scratching out sigils to ensure that the weather would be right, correct, in order for crops to be abundant. Essentially, the beginnings of language and writing, it can be argued, came from the magical inscriptions that later were used for recording matters and then sharing more complex ideas. Naturally, the first sigils were hieroglyphic, as can be seen in the early spells of the Kemetic peoples. Prior to that, the early tribes, like that of the Bushmen, scratched such symbols on walls to ensure a successful hunt, or that animals would guide the tribe to a water source, also magical in nature. So, with the context now established, the relation of fixing something that needs to be fixed as it is broken, or writing something that's potentially wrong as it needs fixing, can both be seen as a way to alchemically change circumstances, to fix or join outcomes to one's will, or to right the situation that it be correctly aligned with one's will. The notion of writing down or spelling, casting a spell to ensure the situation be right and not wrong or fixed instead of broken, can be seen to carry subtle undercurrents of magical intent at the heart. Thus, the Pi, or Proto-Indo-European fix, suddenly makes so much sense as pag when relating it to such an esoteric way to the core meanings associated with paganism, that of animism coupled with panpsychism, that there is a psychic component that connects humans to nature via a web or chain of beings that are all closely aligned with the proverbial world soul, that the medical will can influence or gain the favor of these cosmic or celestial intelligences, and that the very nature of the world can thus be influenced. So think upon the rain dance, Saturnalia festivals, and other fire-based rituals of purification, for example, or the rituals like the Ishtar or Easter rituals that just passed. A festival to ensure fertility, for example. I hope you enjoyed this little adventure of thought. I would love to hear your thoughts. So anyway, that was just a something that I was thinking the other day, and I was thinking, like, you know what? I haven't written an article in a long time. And I thought I'd write one and share it in a pagan group on Facebook, because like I never do much on Facebook. The only thing I use Facebook for is to share these things. And I think like maybe writing an article once in a while is probably a good idea to get like people interested, because for some reason Facebook doesn't share your content unless you've written something down. Isn't that weird? They don't really like to share videos. They don't want to share information like we're posting it. You have to like draw in a crowd with those kind of things, and then they'll like see the other stuff.
Well, Facebook is a weapon. It was LifeLog, and it's a coincidence that the day DARPA's LifeLog program finished, his Mark Zuckerberg, part of John Hopkins Center of Gifted Children, oh, here's Facebook. And the reason I mention it's a weapon is because like when you type, it has no emotion. So it creates arguments. It's like on Twitter, I don't think, or X, I don't think it's the same. It's just typing, because you can type something and someone can take it like different ways because there's no emotion behind the typing. So it's just like to fuel our emotions, X, Twitter, Facebook. So perhaps that's why there's no video. It's it's mainly typing. That's again, it's with the fixed. It's fixed when it's written. When it's written, it's there, and it kind of can't be changed. Like you send something, but when you hear someone speaking, they can say the same word, but it's kind of the words can have many different meanings, and it's like it's how it's said can come across a different way.
Yeah, totally, brother. I think there's a lot to do with that, and I don't know if you're fully aware of this. You probably are, but for those that aren't aware of this, maybe and that will watch this video later, because most of the people in this chat group that come here regularly are fully, I'm sure, aware of it. But the money that funded the founding of Facebook came from a shell company that was a well-known and legitimately publicized shell company used by CIA. How's that? So effectively, the money that started Facebook came from none other than CIA. It was literally, and where does CIA money come from? Do you pay tax? Well done. You paid for Facebook to get made. And guess who makes the profit? Oh, sorry. You're not the one who makes the profit, but it's your information getting sold. So you are the reason why other people make profit from your money that started a platform that other people now own. And they're a bunch of rich billionaires. Food for thought. But that's universal. I'm pretty sure if you dig deep enough to YouTube, Google, you're going to find the same thing. They just probably hid it better. Facebook, they didn't hide it that well, right? That's why the information got out. But yeah, brother. Yeah.
Well, I just want to say, they create monopolies. So like whether it was created for a purpose, it gets weaponized. And they make sure that there's no competing kind of things. Like there used to be MySpace. Do you remember MySpace? MySpace was great. You could share. You
Yeah,
could
it
have
was.
like, yeah, it was more creative. Like you could have music that you share. Like you have a little tab of all your music. So you go on someone's profile and you see the music they're into. Whereas Facebook is just like, it's dull. All these
Wasn't
things,
MySpace open source? I can't remember.
maybe, but yeah, it's not used anymore. And I think that I have listened to someone very intelligent explaining how they like Google and Facebook and stuff. They create a monopoly and make it very, very hard for anyone else to come onto the market. So there's just YouTube for searching. So I know we have Rumble as well and Rockfin, but really YouTube has so much content on it that there's nothing else really like it. TikTok is just really short videos. But yeah, they certainly create monopolies, be it they are created for that purpose, or whenever there's something good, these parasites just snap it up and suck the life out of it. That's what I've noticed. As soon as something good comes up, they're like, yep. They just suck all the air out of it. That's what a psyop is. Pounds per square inch. Like when you're diving, they're just sucking the air out, so we can't dive deep. People don't want to dive into the waters. They don't want to go deep. They're just. That's how I view a psyop. Is just dense energy and not wanting to dig deeper. Conspiracy theorist. You call that, and that's to shut the conversation down straight away. Oh, that sounds like a conspiracy theory.
It's funny that I was having this conversation just today with Hollowbone Hawk, like my partner, and we were having this conversation today. The exact, and we were basically, she was saying exactly what you were saying when we were talking. We were like, yeah, what was it that inspired that conversation? Oh, that's right. I was telling her about how cool Camden used to be in the late 90s. And in the early thousands, Camden was amazing. There was a bunch of really alternative, artistic people, loads of really cool stalls. People were making stuff. They were bringing like interesting, handmade, artistic stuff to Camden. And I was saying to her that basically by about 2012, it started to go downhill. By 2015, it was like a toilet washout. There was still ID Spiral Cafe there, which was pretty cool. ID Spiral, Dominic Schnell's restaurant, which was pretty cool. He's a good friend of mine, which was right there on the water. I don't know if you remember on the water, ID Spiral. That was Dom's place. He had cool gigs there, cool artists and things happening there. And but then he had to move from that zone and go and do other projects, But by that time, it was already going down, and it was losing its spirit. And when last time I went to Camden, I was so disappointed. It must have been about like 13, 14 years ago. And for some reason, I went to Camden. I wanted to buy something, and I was like, holy crap. I was disgusted because I remember Camden with people sitting around on the grass with musical instruments, playing music, drumming over there, playing guitar here, everybody chilling, having a spliff in the sun, all alternative people, poets over there talking poetry. You'd walk through the lanes, not the lanes, that they don't call them the lanes. There's like little places you go through in Camden. What are they called? The locks, yeah? The Camden locks. And it was just such a cool experience. There were so many cool little stalls there and interesting things. And now when you go through, it's all generic rubbish, isn't it? It's like Walmart, man. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but like compared to what it used to be. And we have the same thing in Cape Town. We used to have a place called Green Market Square, which was like local artistic people making stuff, selling stuff, getting cool, interesting stuff that they found in like people like you and me that go traveling and find stuff and bring it and sell it and make stuff. And handmade shoes and handmade this and handmade clothes. And I had a friend, Billy, who used to make really cool clothes and sell it there. And you could get like really signature, like, stuff that's not generic at all. And I came back to South Africa. And in like 2016, I went to Green Market Square and I was like, holy crap, what happened here? And they've got like token African people from other countries to just fill all the stores. And they're all selling the same crap as the other stores. And you go like, oh, so basically there's like 8 stores or 10 stores here and they're all selling the same crap. And it's crap. It's not stuff you want to buy. Like, can you even find handmade shoes? I actually went there to find handmade shoes. Like, there's no handmade shoes here. Like, this is what I came here for sandals, dude. I want handmade sandals. Like, this is not not why I'm here. And I looked around. I was just disappointed. And what you were saying was, this is the thing. The cool, artistic, creative people start a cool thing, and then the corporate Illuminati come in and grab it and steal it. So, hey. Hello. How are you?
You gonna say hello? No? Go on then. The microphone's
hello.
on, by the way.
My microphone's off. Isn't it on? No, it must be on.
It is on. Yeah.
How are you doing, Birdie?
That's Ori.
Oh, is that Ori? I can't really see so well. Wow, your teeth came out, dude.
Yeah, his both his front 2 teeth came out a while ago. Yeah, at the same time.
I'm trying to zoom in, but I can't.
Yeah, can close.
Oh, okay? I thought you were so. Wow, dude, that's like really lucky, man. That means you're becoming a big boy now. You're getting your teeth.
Yeah, he's got a bird on his shoulder. Yeah.
What?
What's your bird called again?
A Garthon.
A Garthon.
He's a little.
He's really cool.
Cheeky little boy, but we love him.
Yeah.
I can't even go to shower without this guy. Like, if I try and put him down, he freaks out. I've got to like coax him to eat. Like, come on, eat now. And he jumps off. No, I want to be on your shoulder. And then he gets really hungry and he'll sit and eat for like about 45 minutes. Just eat and eat and eat. So he's like an unusual bird.
That's what you do. This birdie just eats and eats and eats. It's like all I hear is, can I have a snack? Can I have a snack? Can I have a snack? He's growing.
Well, you must eat though. You must eat because you're a growing boy. You got a lot of all that food's going to become like big muscles one day, so that you can like do all the heavy lifting around the house.
I'm finishing up now. Okay, say bye then.
Bye.
Bye. Big love. Wow, I thought he looked so much smaller from behind, and his face looks different. They change so fast, eh?
Yeah.
You lose your teeth and your whole face like.
Yeah.
Wow. When did he lose his teeth?
A while ago. They're just starting to come through now. Like
Right.
a few months ago at least, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's cool, man. Joshua's getting his molars falling out. One of his molars is loose. His front molar, one of them.
Right.
He's 9, so he's just a little bit ahead. He's going to be turning 10 in like a few months. Like, what a hectic! Like hectic. I put him on the scale, and he's still weighing he's almost 45 kilos. So that's like he's weighing a lot. I'm like, I can't keep up with how big he's getting. I'm actually at the point where I have to buy him like XXX small men's shorts and stuff. He's just a buff little guy. This is like buff. He's really buff. So you got to get him eating, dude. Like I just feed my son all the time. Just feed him and like good food. So his bones are like dense and his muscles are strong, because that will make them grow more, grow to their full potential, and then their bodies will be unrestricted. And then they can train that when they get to like 14, 15, they can train that and turn it into muscle density. And by the time they're 16, they can start doing a bit of weightlifting and get the body shaped. Once you shape your body at age 16 to 18, that's the body you got for the rest of your life, right? Like if you make it strong, then it stays strong. Like that's, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I'd known that when I was 16 or 18, because I was not focusing on my health or weightlifting when I was then. I was getting up to mischief.
Yeah, man.
For like 10 years,
I was training hard. I was like training like I wasn't doing. I didn't want to get big muscles. I was training to compact my body, but I was training like 25 hours a week. I was training hard. Like I trained 3 times a day, 4 times a day. Like just train. Press ups, pull ups, running, but not just running up like the steepest hill I could find. Sprint up there, because it makes you strong. Sprinting up a hill. Nothing makes you as strong as sprinting up a hill, because your whole body's got to like, all of the sinews, everything's got to pull as hard as it can to get you up that hill. And you sprint, and it really tires you out, because of 60 yards sprinting up you find like a parking garage or something, and you sprint up there, and then you run down sideways, and you sprint up, and you run down sideways, and you sprint up, and you run down backwards. And so you develop your muscles for moving in every direction. So you like good strong legs, gosh, I used to train hard. Makes me feel lazy these days by comparison. But yeah, brother, shall we wrap it up?
Yeah, man, let's wrap it up. Yeah, I'll just play this before we head off. A few people were saying how nice it was earlier, so just play it again. It's called this is what it's called, Koshi. And this particular one is the aria. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm also Irish. I love it. The aria is the sacred, the sacred place. Yeah.
Is it?
And they speak about the Irie in Africa. The Irie and the aria are connected. That's why the Rastaman, the Iman, right? The Rastaman, the Rastafari, they are always, you got to be Irie man. You got to be Irie. Irie means to be elevated and peaceful in a state of be high consciousness.
A link between like Irish sounds a lot like Iris, and Iris is like Mercury. Yeah, messenger of the god. These are messengers of God. But Iris, I can't remember. It's like, obviously we have Mercury, which is more of messenger of the gods, but then Iris as a goddess is slightly different, like, still a messenger. So I'm just wondering if there's a link between pagans, Pegasus, like Pegasus and pagans, and messenger of the gods, and Mercury, and traveling, as Pegasus traveled between the heavens and the earth, and how traveling means to expand your mind and bring spirit into matter when you're more connected to the earth. And so pagans, Pegasus, the Irish, and Iris. So there's a link between all of those to do with traveling, being connected to the earth, messenger of the gods, like Iris, seeing. I'm maybe it's just being more connected to the eye of the world, which is the Iron Soft, which is the black rock. You know, perhaps we were more connected to our center, and we've kind of been detached from our center. And then in that sense as well, we travel less with our imagination and with our flesh vehicles. We've been more kind of restricted to like kind of stay in place, comfortable. Whereas there was a time when we used to travel more. We used to travel more with our minds, more connected to the ether, able to build beautiful architecture, you know, more in tune and resonance with the earth, and in turn able to bring things that seem otherworldly into existence. So yeah, like Atlanteans, Celtics, Irish, Iris, pagans, and Pegasus. I'm sure there's a common thread there.
Yeah, totally, man. You know, here's an interesting thing to just look at, right? So Asus. So obviously it's Greek origin, like the I and the cis, right? It's used in medical things like, you know, added on as a suffix onto words, right? And so, you know, the metastasis, the elephantiasis, paralysis, all these words come from that. And so if you look into the Paleo-Hebrew, Phoenician, and the Hebrew, it means new wine, right? Representing new beginnings. Interesting. If you look at the Sanskrit, it represents the word sword, signifying the warrior-like spirit of number 9. Number 9 is Aries, symbolizing new beginnings, right? And so that's quite interesting, you know. Obviously, you've got a part in the spine connecting to the pelvis, which is like the locomotion moving you forward. So that is like Asus. And so if you take that into consideration and you say like peg or pag, right? Pagan, pag meaning to fix. Asus, right? To fix a new beginning, to fix the sword that represents the carving a new you know, a new reality for yourself in a sense. So Pegasus makes perfect sense because that would be how Zeus would reach the physical world, right? If Zeus wanted to come to the earth, if you wanted to bring your mind and consciousness and the first principle of Hermes into manifestation, you would use the Pegasus, which is the peg to fix the sword or the new idea or the new wine to manifest from mind into matter. So there's definitely something there to do with the manifestation of mind to matter connection with Pegasus, with paganism. It's interesting.
So yeah, it's interesting. You know, there's a story of the sword in the stone. That is what that is, right? Because I don't know the story of the sword in the stone. I know it's to do with Excalibur and King Arthur, who supposedly went to the center of the earth. He went to Black Rock, which is interesting because yeah, that is really interesting. Actually, I'm going to try and look into that. But with the sword, it's an anagram of words, and also sword. It signals to me like, oh, I saw that as in the past, which is sort of similar to seen, to being seen, which is iris, So the sword to be is kind of like a weird way to say to be seen, you know, because you saw something, but oh yeah, he saw me. To be sawed, you know, is to kind of be seen in a weird way.
To swear in, swore me in, swore in.
Yeah.
It's an office signal of office. I've got to run because my little boy is needing daddy, and I promised him I was going to come like 45 minutes ago, brother.
All right. I'll just say really quickly that also
Yeah.
the wine as well is also why in. It's questioning, but internally going into the dark, and that relates to the Asus, and then the peg is having an anchor point. So the Pegasus, the traveling between worlds, is having a peg, an anchor point that assists the assistance of the assist is to go inwards with your words, with your wordplay and stuff, you know, the weirds, the fate. And why in, questioning the why, but inwards internally. So there's so much more we could unpack with that, but let's save that for another time.
Yeah, brother. And it all comes from the ashes, the ashes from the ashes. It's been a wonderful conversation, dear brother. I could stay here all night, but I'm feeling a bit guilty. Like I've neglected my boy a little. I've got to go give him my daddy love. He's going to be going to bed in like about 45 minutes. So this is our sacred daddy son time. Sending you big love, dear brother.
Much love.
I hope you have a great evening. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, man. For sure.
Big love to everybody in the chat. It's been an honor having you guys here. And Om Shanti to everybody. I hope you guys have a great rest of your sacred day. To Salty, to Tomru, to Gaz, to everybody else that's been here. You know, I don't know who's here now. I think people had to go. It was an awkward time that we did it, but it's just the way it worked. I was with my girlfriend today. We would have probably done it earlier this morning, but that's sort of on me. But thank you, dear Shinobi, for a lovely conversation. It's always an honor to be on the show with you, and enjoy the rest of your day, brother. And big love to your beautiful partner and your sons, your other son, and Bodhi as well. And Om Shanti.
Much love.
Bless up, everybody. Take it easy. Keep your smile alive. Don't forget, life is short.